Welcome in, everybody, to another exclusive edition of The Rundown here on Big Rapids Daily News YouTube channel. Brandon Worth as well as Blake Thomas joining you here with another special guest. We got head girls coach, assistant boys varsity coach, Jess Haist joining us. Coach, thanks for joining on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Great week of hoops upcoming. Obviously, districts for boys this week. Obviously, looking ahead for Wednesday and Friday. We'll cover that at the end part of the show, but we'll flip the script. We'll talk some girls hoops here to start. But first, be sure to go and check out Dazos Digital, a primary sponsor of the show. They can do a lot of great things for you: audio, video, graphic design, all sorts of display and content that they can make for you to help your business thrive. Visit DazosDigital.com for more. And they're a great sponsor of the show. Looking into the girls, obviously, Coach Heist, I know it. Friday was a very special moment, cutting down the nets. Obviously, conference championships are always great. Just talk about the way that your girls have played to the regular season up this point. Obviously, 1 week to go, but just how much that means to you and this team for sure.
Well, I think last week we'd wrapped up the title. We were, guaranteed that spot, but it's still nice to win it outright, to come up with that 10-0 record at the end. And I felt like our kids really showed up Friday night. I think, right from the get-go, our press was solid. Our defensive pressure was intense and just kind of set the tone for the rest of the evening. And it was fun to just kind of wrap it up and celebrate at the end of the night with the girls that have worked hard all season and have come out on top on the CSAA.
Absolutely. And Blake, I mean, it's been a pleasure for us looking at the boys' games, and obviously we're preluding what's going on with the girls, or I should say the girls are preluding what's going on for the guys' game, and there's always energy in the building, and it's a fun team to watch just from a spectator's perspective.
Yeah, they're incredible. High ceiling. You've got two seniors, and one that gets a lot of minutes, and then it's freshmen and sophomores. And the way they play and the way that that press on Friday was unbelievable. I think there were 6 straight possessions where Grant Demon cross half court, and they do all the little things. They move the ball. They're aggressive. They're coachable, and they execute defensively. They execute on the offensive end as well. They're fun to watch. And the coolest thing is like this is not the end. This is only the beginning. They've got 2 or 3 more years where they're going to be up. The ceiling's really high. The floor is really, really high as well. Like if this is as bad as they ever are, they're a fantastic ball club, right? I can't wait to watch them leading into districts next week, because I think they can make a deep run in the tournament. A really good club, well coached, work really hard, fun to watch. All of the above, right? Really, really fun to see these girls have this type of success. Selfishly, my daughter's the water girl. She talks about it. She loves it too. That's her team as well, and it's been cool to watch her be included, not just this year, but previous years as well. But she expects to win when she's the water girl, and she's got a lot of wins under her belt so far.
Absolutely. A lot of wins indeed. And Coach, before we go into look to some games here the rest of the week for you guys, regular season, postseason talk as well, just talk about what this group especially been able to be very successful with. A lot of key pieces, a lot of them older, experienced pieces, but also some very young pieces. Just talk about how special this team has been to coach, and how special you would like this run to be going into March.
Yeah, Hadley Fox is a 3-year varsity player, and she kind of has the most court experience, the most playing experience, and probably the most program knowledge. She's been around kind of like Sloan ever since she was little. She sat on that bench as a water girl, and has been a big part of our program. So it's exciting to see her have the success as a senior, and have these younger kids kind of be her supporting cast. And at the same time, we have Reese, who's our additional senior, and she's been a part of the program since she was little as well. She kind of does whatever we ask her to do, and just a fantastic 2 seniors to have as we kind of head into this postseason here. And then it's really young kids. We've got a couple of juniors, but otherwise, Nalea Fricky as a sophomore probably has the most court minutes coming back this year. So last year there was a lot of growing pains from her, but we've seen her take some huge steps this year. And really her overall game, just the head on her shoulders, her composure has really just taken huge steps even throughout the season. And so those 2 have really kind of let us on the floor, and Hadley and Nalea and everybody else has just kind of started to fill the roles that they've been assigned. And I think the neat thing about them is, there was a stretch there in the middle where I was quite concerned where we were seeing a 2-3 zone all the time, and the girls were frustrated. We were frustrated. And then we kind of broke it down and got to it. And so we haven't seen that quite as much in the last few games. And so that's kind of been fun to see them adjust to the game as we've kind of progressed through the season.
Absolutely. And some key games this week for you guys playing Kennewa Hills and obviously Manistee to finish out the week. Just talk about the importance for those games for your team, turning that page going into the postseason next week.
Well, you'd like to be playing your best basketball right now. I would say Friday, we definitely fit that mark. And you hope that when we head to Kennewa tonight and then long trip to Manistee on Thursday, we can continue that upward climb. So that headed into next week, we're playing our best basketball, aggressive and gritty, and knocking shots down that we need to knock down. So that's really what we're hoping for. Obviously you want to win these two games, but they're definitely just stepping stones to next week, and hoping that they're getting us prepared for the district.
Absolutely. We'll talk about the district here in just a moment, but Blake, I'll tee it over to you. Some big games that we've been highlighting here for the rest of the week. You got Clare and Reed City, right? We talked about Reed City, how they've been really peaking and playing some good basketball right now. Kent City going to be playing Pine River, looking to keep that rolling from last week's win over Molly Stanwin. And then you got a juggernaut matchup on the record tables, Newaygo and Cedar Springs. Those should be some very interesting ball games.
Yeah, and then this is the point where, like Coach Haist just said, everybody wants to be playing their best basketball. You've got a good Kent City team that our girls, had a back and forth first quarter, and then were able to space out that lead. I believe that was last Tuesday. A big three by freshman Ava Pedigo to end the first quarter, and then it was just kind of they hit the ground running and stretched out that lead. But again, Newaygo, a good ball club. They've won like 15, 16 ball games, playing a bigger school in Cedar Springs. You like to see what they're able to do because they've got a tough matchup in round, I guess it would be round 2 of districts against a really good Fremont team who was the 1 seed until the very last second when the Big Rapids girls took that from them. But at the same time, you've got, Morley Stanwood, who is playing, I believe, a very good ball club in Hart this week as well. Which is, a good test. And the CSA girls have always they've seemed to have a really, really good march. They always show up and compete for district titles, compete for regional titles. So it's a really good conference, a couple of really good districts. I'm really excited to see it play out.
Absolutely. And looking at some of those districts, Coach, obviously we'll get your thoughts here on District 35. Ludington and Reed City will be playing on Monday. You guys with the bye and flipping to the 1 seed. I know that's got to be a very, very happy thing for you guys. So waiting the winner of the Orioles and the Coyotes. Then you obviously have Fremont, who's been a very talented team, Newaygo, which you guys are fortunate enough to beat twice. What's your overall thoughts on this bracket? And overall, how does it feel just to get that number 1 seed?
I think it's exciting to get the 1 seed. It's great that they're seeding the whole bracket now. I think that takes a little bit of the uncertainty out of it. And we knew at the 1 or the 2 we were going to get a CSAA opponent, whether that was Newaygo or potentially Reed City. And we've talked a lot about it with, the boys this week and stuff too. Seeing somebody a third time is never a lot of fun. But the good part is you do know the opponents and you know some of their tendencies. And on the girls' side in our division, we have a lot of coaches that have been coaching for a while. We tend to know each other pretty well too. So you try to come up with something that we can throw that's a little bit different and throw us off our game. And that's a lot of fun as well. So wherever it lands, I would imagine it'll be a grudge match between Ludington and Reed City. They played earlier in the season, and we'll just be watching to see who we're going to get on Wednesday night.
Absolutely. Looking at some of the other brackets, and Blake, we'll get your thoughts here. Chip Hills against Ogama Heights on that Monday draw. The winner will play the Clare Pioneers, a really good Clare Pioneer team this year. Then in District 40, Central Montcalm in the first round game against Ionia, also the host of the tournament. We'll see how they fare. The winner will play Portland, and then St. John's and Belding also in that bracket. District 41, a little bit lower of as far as number of teams and quantity in this bracket. Grant, the number 1 seed, playing Comstock Park. Then you got Tri-County, the host, going to be taking on the Spartans of Sparta there on Wednesday. So nobody plays on Monday just because of the fact there's only 4 teams in that bracket. Then you have District 72, the Hart Pirates we mentioned just a moment ago. They'll be waiting the winner of Manistee and White Cloud, 2 familiar teams. Big Rapids obviously playing them this week and then playing White Cloud earlier this year. Then you got Mason County Central and Hesperia duking it out to play Shelby, the number 2 seed, which will await there. And then in District 73, Kent City awaiting Holton and Lakeview. That should be a very interesting first first round matchup there between the Red Devils and the Wildcats. And then you have Ravenna and Blanchard Montebello playing for the right to play Morley Stanwood, the number 2 seed, there on Wednesday. Blake, overall thoughts from some of those brackets? Which one caught your eye?
It's always the Kent City Morley Stanwood district. I anticipate that they're going to be meeting each other for a district title on Friday night, just like the boys are playing each other tomorrow night in their district. As well as you have that 4-team district. I think Grant is the heavy favorite there. Sparta with, I believe, no wins as of right now. Tri-County with very few wins. And what it was, Grant 500. I think that they've got probably the best draw out of all the teams in the CSAA. And then Chip Hills has been playing better as of late, but again, a very tough one. And then Central.com. I don't know if you've ever been in Ionia's gym. I don't know if Jess has played there, which you played at Greenville, but odd things happen in that gym. It is old. It is wonky. Not my favorite place to play. So Central.com, a tough one, a tough draw to go play the Bulldogs at their place as well. But all bets are off. It's going to be March officially for the girls when they start district play, and anything can happen in that month.
For sure. Coach, I'll go over to you. Any of the teams that you might be watching just based on the way you've seen them play, or especially some of the teams that you've kind of kept your eye on this year for how far they might go?
Well, I think also in that district, we're talking about Central Montcalm. They've got Portland coming in, and Portland has been a powerhouse in girls basketball for a while. So I know Rob Putnam over at Central Montcalm is keeping his eye on them as well as the Bulldogs. And agree, not the best place to play a game. As you're coming in, it's not the favorite, if you will. But so that'll be a good one. Again, Morley Stanwood and Kent City, they always seem to meet up. I'm sure they wish it went a different direction. Talking to Nate over at Newaygo, he's usually down in that Tri-County Grant district as well. And so things look a little different for him having to play with us in Reed City. But I think Cadillac bumping up a division kind of changed things. And Hart is interesting because Hart's solid. And while they're on the boys' side, they're playing in our boys, District 35 bracket. They're not in the girls. And I think that's okay. So we'll take what we get and send them somewhere else. So.
Absolutely. So at the end of the day, it's all Cadillac's fault. That's all that we've come to a conclusion. Yep. It's all Cadillac's fault. Everybody's on board with that. Speaking of which, we will flip over to the boys' side. Big matchup between the Cardinals and the Pirates coming up. But first, if you want to advertise on the rundown, 796-7000, get a hold of us at the Big Rapids Media Network. We would be glad to have you supporting local high school sports and this show in particular. We'll talk about this Monday game. Obviously, Coach Haist, you were there to watch this one. Just pure domination. Cardinals had it from the jump against the Lions in their gym. We obviously postseason, right? Records are 0-0 throughout some of the things in the regular season, but it really looked like that regular season dominance that you guys had against the Lions.
Yeah, no, you worry about a lot of those things. That third time, their home gym, again, knowing each other pretty well, the matchups with the kids, a lot of kids that have been playing against each other for a long time. And also, we had a fantastic ball game on Friday night that we played a lot of extra minutes. So we had a good practice on Sunday. We were worried a little bit about the letdown and the legs last night. And we didn't see that at all. The kids came in with a chip on their shoulder, and that was good to see. They were hungry for that win and not wanting to go back down, maybe previous endings to seasons and have that feeling, and also just kind of get after it from Friday night. That being said, legs were tired. There was a couple times in the game where a couple of the kids turned and they were like, I'm gassed. And you could definitely see that and feel that. So hopefully we got that taken care of. We shot okay, but we moved the ball really well. Defensively, we played well. We communicated well, and got the ball where we needed it to get at different times. So I'm pleased with the win and just going to move on to the next one and see what happens.
For sure. Going to be a great matchup on Wednesday. On the other side of the bracket, Reed City falling to Fremont. Blake, obviously, we called that game. Really tough one for the Coyotes. They were really behind early in that game, made a big comeback in the fourth quarter. And I think the realistic part that from the fans watching that game, right, a lot of the followers, it felt like that way a little bit too much this year. Reed City, a little bit slow starts. Fremont just taking care of business at the beginning of the game, and they were able to hold it out. Reed City's got a lot of talent and potential moving forward, and they'll be an interesting team to watch, but it should be very interesting. Ludington, Fremont, that's going to be a fun matchup. And then you got Hart and Big Rapids going to be squaring off in the second half of the doubleheader on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and I expect both of them to be better ball games. Big Rapids was outstanding last night. Got out to a 29-8 lead. It was able to coast the rest of the way, which was nice because you did get to you were able to play some of the guys that don't get as much time and rest some of the players who played. Some guys played 44 minutes on Friday night. And you got to see, Ty Gilcheck was outstanding. Cole shot the ball well, ran the show, does cool things. That's what he does. He's the score general. And Drew comes in, does some good things off the bench, gets 5 rebounds, makes a couple of jump shots. And, I was really impressed with Gabe last night. Didn't score a ton of points, as we mentioned last night, but he shared the ball. And, the biggest thing is when you're 6'8" and 6'6" on the blocks and you're playing that zone defense, how many times did Newaygo get to the block and go, yeah, I'm not shooting this thing, and they kicked it right back out. And anytime you've got 2 guys that can erase shots like that, it changes everything. Hart might be a little bit better matchup, but still having to deal with that athleticism and the changing of defenses that Big Rapids does, it makes it incredibly difficult to score on them. So kudos to the coaching staff doing a great job at that. The guys played hard last night. And again, really nice to win one, get that monkey off your back, and be able to move on and play in a district semifinal for, the second time in 3 years. And then on the flip side, Reed City's young. You saw their freshmen were key contributors early, and they got into foul trouble. And Fremont is a battle-tested team. They took Big Rapids to a 7-point loss. And they play against the Whitehalls of the world, Muskegon, Oak Ridge, Ludington. You get all those teams twice, and that's a tough schedule. And it shows, they're young too. They had 2 sophomores and a freshman playing a ton of minutes from them, and then they had their senior Reddick Powell just making jump shot after jump shot. Reed City played them tough in the second half as a 1-point differential, but again, they gave up too many offensive boards in the first half, got down early, and then it was too little too late in the end.
Absolutely. And Wednesday's game, Blake and I will have the call for that one. Going to be a great matchup against the Pirates. Coach, going over to you, based on what you've seen from Hart overall this year, obviously some common opponents, including Newaygo in that same gym. What do you see from Hart, and what might they throw your way, and how can you guys be able to be successful on Wednesday?
Well, I think we see some similarities in the teams. I think that they change defense. We're seeing a lot of man, but we've seen some zone from them as well. A little press, a little not. They like to mix it up, kind of like we do. They have some good shooters. They've got a nice post inside that's got a strong presence that hopefully we can match up well with both Gabe and Ty inside. And I think for us, the biggest thing is to keep doing what we've been doing the last few games, which is, move on defense, communicate. I feel like they've been pretty cohesive in what we've been doing, regardless of what defense we are playing. I think that's important. I think we've really sold into the idea of, you might get a good shot, but if you pass it, you might get a better shot. And the kids are moving the ball. And, last night, they just want to win at this point. It's not about how the ball's going, it's if it's going in and how we can make that happen. We've really locked down, I feel like, on some of our weaknesses on defense, and hopefully moving forward, we can keep doing that. So hopefully, we'll see a good ball game where we show up and play like we've been playing the last couple of games, and see if we can make it to Friday.
For sure. And as Ty said last week, think about Wednesday on Wednesday to get to
Yep.
Friday later on, taking care of business indeed. We'll look at some of the other area brackets, and obviously we'll get Coach and Blake's thoughts. District 36, Chip Hills falls to Clare 40-26. So Clare will move on to play Standish. Sterling, Gladwin, and Ogama Heights will duke it out in the other semifinals, the 2-3 seed pairing. Then you got Central Montcalm falling to St. John's. St. John's, talented team. Blake, we've talked about them a little bit over the last couple of weeks. They will now play Portland. Ionia and Belding will square off there from Portland. D41, Tri-County falling to Comstock Park 70-48. Based on the numbers on paper, a little bit of a lopsided score, but Comstock seemed to be a better team than what they showed on paper. And then so obviously we'll see Grant and Comstock Park duke it out, and then Sparta and Forest Hills Eastern. That will be an interesting game, as Sparta's a team that's beat Grant, but they're going to have to play in Eastern's gym. That's going to be very interesting to follow. District 72, you had White Cloud duking it out against Shelby. The Indians win by 10, so they will now play Pine River. That should be a very fun basketball game. Excited for that one. And Manistee takes care of Hesperia. They will play Mason County Central. Manistee, a very sneaky team, a team that beat Whitehall earlier this year. And then in District 73, Ravenna knocks off Lakeview. So the 1-4 pairing, Blanchard, Montebello, and Ravenna will face off. And then Morley Stanwood handling business against Holton. Didn't seem like it was a game once they got into the parking lot, 76-32. And so they get the third time around. We talk about on the girls' side, guys' side too. The third time those two teams will be playing this year, Kent City and Morley Stanwood. So that should be very interesting. Blake, going over to you. District bracket, maybe some surprising score you saw on Monday night, or a bracket now that you're seeing that's really tightening up that people should follow?
I was surprised with the Comstock Park Tri-County score when I saw that Comstock Park, maybe a 3-win team, and to go in, and again, they play in a tougher conference, to go in and beat Tri-County by 22. That's a pretty big margin. Also, Chip Hills, who was a team who I thought was turning the corner defensively. You hold the team to 40 points, but you only score 26. Got to find a way to put the ball in the hole going forward. They're going to return every starter. So you got to get in the gym and start making some shots. So you can complement that defense that you have. And then again, you get the rematch, Morley Stanwood and Kent City. Both very good programs. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Morley Stanwood play the Cardinals this year. I did get to see Kent City, and Kent City, a tough ball club that if they get hot, they can beat anybody because they do shoot the rock pretty well. But again, that's the biggest rivalry in the CSAA White in between those two schools, and anything can happen. I'm excited to see the result from that one.
For sure. Coach, I'll go over to you. A team that's caught your eye that maybe some people might be wanting to watch the rest of the way. Obviously, outside of the Cardinals, of course, as the number one, but maybe a team that surprised you for how well they've played this year.
Well, I think we're just watching those other district matchups, that we could potentially run into later, or anyone from our district is going to. Standish Sterling always, shows well. They've got a couple of really good players over there. And so we're kind of watching that. I think Grant, has a great opportunity to win a district down the way, and we'll see what happens. Comstock Park, we played them, scrimmaged them a little bit at the preseason. Nowhere near where we are now, as probably they were not as well, but should be a good matchup. And we'll see how we fare down there. You like to see your league schools, stay a little longer. It says more for the CSAA if we can get those schools to win for a little bit longer. So we're just going to watch and see what happens.
Absolutely. We work for the CSAA. Big Rapids might not root for Reed City and the other way around, but it's still conference love at the end of the day.
Most of the time. Yeah.
Most of the time, indeed. I saw the student sections over there. They were rooting for Fremont. They couldn't hide it. It's all right. Yeah. But Coach, thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with one last question. And this is obviously more of an open question for you personally, being able to be part of both programs and obviously the family legacy within both teams. I mean, that's got to be a very unique and awesome opportunity. How has it been able to go through this year, be able to handle with both teams, and just have the experience of not only that, but coaching your kids as well?
It's a lot. This week has felt like a lot, and it's only Tuesday. But it's good. I love the game. I love being in the gym. I love all the kids. I feel like it's been a great opportunity to be able to be towards the end of one career, the starts of the other, and get a chance to see my kids do their thing and be part of that, but still get to do what I love to do, which is to be there with the girls and coach them and take some of those young kids and watch them grow. So it's a lot, but I feel like we do a pretty good job. We've got a great staff on both sides, and we work together to balance practices and make sure we can all get where we need to be. Kostecki was doing JV and helping the varsity and making sure that we can do those double practices and it works for everybody's schedule. And it's something special. It's always been something special being in the gym with my family, and to get to do that for as long as I've been able to do and continue to do that is pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck on Wednesday here in the boys, as well as Tuesday and Thursday for the girls' games. And Blake and I will have the call on Wednesday at 6:30 on Big Country. We're going big for this game once again in the postseason on Big Country. Blake, can't wait to call it with you. I know you're really excited to see the Pirates once again. 2022 was great, or I should say 2023 postseason was great, where we met them in the semifinal round. Some of those guys, Ty, Cole, they're waiting for that next matchup, that rematch, to see if they can get back against Hart.
Yeah, and like I said yesterday, Parker Hovey is not coming out of that locker room, at least in uniform. And they're a good club, but I think the Cardinals match up really well against them. But again, it's tournament basketball. It's the best kind of basketball, in my opinion. And I can't wait to watch it unfold.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great basketball postseason ahead. Thank you all for watching. And Coach, thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Be sure to subscribe on Big Rapids Daily News and the preset dial at WBL Rent to catch all the episodes of The Rundown all postseason long.